Eben, thanks very much, guys, for joining us at the Penventon Hotel. Welcome to Table 6. Should have some lovely food tonight, hopefully, and some pleasant conversation about the property market and how we perceive that may change over the next year as well. So we've had a good year. Market was, if anything, a bit better than I thought it was going to be. I was concerned at the start of the year about Brexit. Are people going to hold back? And that hasn't seemed to happen. Almost the same as when we had the referendum. I think we all thought we might have a pause of breath then. I don't know whether you guys did, but it carried on right through last year. So at the moment, it's okay. But if we don't start getting some new instructions, then I think next year could be a bit of a struggle. Are you getting enough on?
Yeah, well, for me, Andy, it's very similar to you actually. We've had a good year. It's been a stable year, like you say. Instruction numbers, I'm finding the appetite for sale is not there. The appetite for purchase, however, is. We're getting a lot more multiple offers on some good instructions. We're selling some very good stock very, very quickly, but we're not replenishing that quick enough.
We've had you talk about multiple offers. Are you finding that you're getting the asking price, exceeding the asking price regularly?
I think it very much depends, Andy, on the price that we put it onto the market at. Depends on which agent you were coming through the door. There's a lot of unrealism in the marketplace, and there has been. We've seen an inflated market price really since Brexit. The talk before that was a very steady market. People were selling good numbers of properties. There's lots of buyers around. What happened is we voted out of the European Union. People got nervous, stopped putting their houses on the market. Estate agents were rallying prices, fighting for the business because of stock levels.
But are you finding, do you think it's us as estate agents that are dictating the asking price, or are you finding that the vendor has almost got a preconceived idea? I'm often finding now I go there, the seller, we might think a house is worth, let's say 500. Seller wants to try 6 or wants to try 550. And you're managing expectations to a certain extent as well.
I think it's a combination of vendor expectation, but also the amount of estate agents you can now choose. I mean, back along, you could only choose the local 6 estate agents in the town. Now you can choose from 60. So you're getting estate agents fighting amongst each other to try and win the business. And that, naturally, that poor negotiator that's on commission is going out there and just putting that little bit extra on to try and win the business, and then maybe try and reduce that price a little bit later to get it sold. So I think you've got a bit of that going on as well.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Thanks.
Tonight we've got a nice little fish starter for you. We've got a grilled mackerel with an escabeche pickle salad. So it's a warm dish. It's not hot, it's not cold, it's a little bit in between. It's just a different sort of texture. So I'll leave you to it.
Super. Thank you very much. Right, lovely starters, chaps. Lovely. Looking forward to a main course. But
very nice.
Yeah, what I just wanted to ask you about is, I've been an estate agent for 30 years. You're talking 20 years, 25 years. The change in the marketplace compared to when I started, we were looking at probably 65-70% home ownership compared to the rental sector. Now we're at probably 50-50 as a rough guide. Where are these houses going to come from? We've lost tax benefits for landlords. We've increased stamp duty, put a 3% surcharge on anybody that owns more than one house. So the incentive for the residential landlord, if you like, the buy-to-let investor seems to be diminishing. Where do you see the property market going in the next few years? It's going to be really interesting.
I think the market has been in a state of change. Cornwall was a very sleepy seaside county for many years. And what's changed now really is everybody in the corridor of London, South East, the Midlands, who want a lifestyle change and want to leave those busier areas, where's there more beautiful than Cornwall to come to? The infrastructure hasn't been prepared here, not due to the council's fault, but due to probably lack of funds from the government.
But also you can fly in now, where communication is better. So many more people run their business from home, internet, etc. I mean, you've got Falmouth operation. You've got pretty areas in the coastal belt on the south coast. Are you guys seeing a lot more second home owners? We got office in St Agnes. I got a place on the market at the moment. This is to renovate right in the heart of the village. We're going to go to sealed bids on it because of the amount of interest. But I've got people flying down to view it, who want to buy it, renovate it, keep it as a second home and disappear. The local people can't afford it. So that's going to be a real problem for us in the coming months.
The problem is mainly you've got a diversity between what the local Cornish people want and what government are driving, and the migration into Cornwall in the next between 2015 and 2020 is 47,000 people.
That's what they reckon, yeah.
They're trying to put planning permission for 3,000 or 4,000 houses around Truro, 400, 500, 1,000 maybe in Falmouth, St Austell, similar numbers. If you add that up in 5 years, we're barely touching the surface at 47,000.
Oh yeah, not close.
So the reality is prices are only going to go one way.
From my business model and what I'm seeing in terms of the rental market is picking up on your original point. The landlord's appetite now is diminishing. I'm an ex-landlord, having just sold my last rental because, just more from a tax point of view, because the mortgage interest relief has now gone. We've seen an awful lot of investors starting to sell their property stock, which is great from a property stock point of view, but we're actually seeing less rental properties on the market, which is having an effect of pushing up rental prices.
Okay, for a main course, we've got quite a hearty wintry dish. It's a 7-hour braised lamb shoulder with a jus provençal, which is the braising liquor from the lambs. We've turned into a sauce, and to that we've added haricot beans, peppers, capers, and it's very hearty, very filling, but it's good for a cold winter's night like tonight. So hope you enjoy.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Lovely. Guys, enjoyed the mains. Looking forward to pudding. Topic I'd really like us to just cover is evolution of the online agent, social media, and where do we really think that's going to take estate agency in the next few years?
Whoa, what a question. What a question. That's interesting from my standpoint, because my business model is halfway there. Hybrid version, yeah. So I offer the traditional estate agents like you guys do, have been for 25 years, but I do it without a high street office. So head office is in Plymouth, but I work remotely in Cornwall. So I'm sort of half there, but for me, the online estate agency and the service that you get with an online estate agency isn't me. I'm very much a people person. I like to be involved, I like to help, I like to problem solve, I like to get sales through, whereas the online for me is just a way to market your property, and then it's down to the owner to do their own.
Yeah, I think the market share I think has grown a little bit for the online agents, but I think there's no substitute ultimately for the traditional agent. And I don't know if you've seen it as well. Our model is slightly different. We've both got high street presences, high street offices. I've seen an increase in people coming back into the office now because I think they're thinking, actually, I might be missing on some properties that don't go online. You'll do what we call discreet marketing. We'll have the odd client that will say, actually, I want to move, but I don't want all my neighbours to know. I don't want it on the major property portals. And I think some prospective buyers have identified this fact. And when there's a lack of property and there's plenty of buyers, they know that they're not necessarily seeing that they're coming around to us and they're not seeing all the properties online, and they're worried that they might miss it. So I think we're almost in danger of going full circle, which would be absolutely brilliant. That said, I've taken a license for an online agency, completely different branding to my high street branding, and part of that is to hopefully potentially future-proof the business. So if online really does take off, and maybe I've got that wrong, then at least I've got something that I can utilise. Personally, I think it'll be traditional estate agency will continue to be the case because we don't charge a fee unless you move. Correct. Most fees are fairly competitive at the end of the day.
The reality is, Andy, that there's always going to be a shift in whatever it might be, products or things purchased. There's always cheaper this and there's always more expensive that. And I think there has been a shift recently because of this very strong property market across the country. We've seen the north starting to see great rises, in places like Leeds and Manchester, which are very depressed. London's obviously been astronomical for a long time. It's probably shot itself in the foot by the amount of dramatic pricing and then leaving the European Union. I think the reality is people will pay for a good service if a good service is given.
So we got to our final course tonight. We've got a quite a light baked vanilla cheesecake with mango and passion fruit. So we've got a little bit of passion fruit curd, passion fruit syrup, a mango sorbet, a little mango salad with some meringue and some freeze-dried raspberries on the top.
Excellent. Right, a big thank you to Penventon Hotel for a lovely meal. Let's wrap it up quickly. Just out of curiosity, where do you think the market's going to be next year? What do you think 2018 is going to bring?
2018 is going to be a tough year. There's going to be interest rate rises, and you've got Brexit. So interesting is all I'm going to say to 2018.
What do you reckon?
I think if the British confidence stays in the economy, I think we'll have a very steady year. I think there'll be more realistic prices. You'll probably see prices shift maybe 2 or 3, 5% down in most Cornish towns. But I think you'll see a very strong buying market if London stabilises as well. And I actually think things will remain reasonably strong, but it's going to be down to the right property at the right price.
Interesting, because I think the market will be completely dictated by how many houses come to the market. If people hold back with a concern on Brexit, I think prices will go up. Volumes will be very difficult. It'll be a tough market. Interestingly, as the start of this year, I thought that might have been the case. Didn't happen. We had a reasonable steady flow of instructions, nice steady market. Then we could see the very same again next year. So that'll be really interesting. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your attendance at Table 6. It's been a real pleasure, and look forward to all having a good time next year.
Yeah, thank you, Andy.